286, authorizing execution of a contract with Phoenix Earthworks LLC in the amount of $180,000 and some change for construction of Stewart Road multi-purpose trail.
Good evening, Council. Looks like there's a few public works items you'll get to hear me speak to here in a moment. The first one, of course, is the potential award next week of a contract to construct the trail segment along Stewart Road that we're working right now. And this is a small works roster project that was put together by the city engineer. And I do want to make very clear, I think it's appropriate to speak to this at the workshop, that this particular project and where we're at would not be in your packet tonight. By virtue of the fact of your decision to have this city engineer full-time, he was able to put together a bid packet, do the construction drawings, and let the bid. So very appreciative of that. And this trail segment will complete the northern piece of a multi-purpose path between Valentine and we're just across Gordon Trucking there, Passport, and where it butts up to the trail that goes to the northern segment of the future interurban trail. So we had 7 bidders that chose to respond. It was advertised further than that, but these were the 7 that were most interested in the work. And the apparent low bidder, of course, is Phoenix. And tonight, it's just to answer any questions that you may have about the project and where it's at. But certainly from a staff perspective, we're recommending it go forward if that's council's pleasure, because there's still an opportunity with this late construction window that we could get it completed this year. So that's the introduction.
Questions from Councilor Roquet?
So am I reading this right, that this is being fully funded by City of Pacific?
It is. Now, thank you for that. I didn't explain the financial component of this. As you recall probably earlier in the year, that we had a reimbursement from WSDOT of $142,000. And this was because of grant funding that was federal funding that had expired on its time for the city to follow through and actually construct the project. But because of the investment that the city made, there was some funding there that had been made by the city. So we got that reimbursed back to the city. So that pot of money is available to apply to this project. We've already used a little over $8,000 to do the survey work and really define the boundaries of the project. The additional funding to make up the difference of that $134,000 and change will come from the Streets Capital Project, where I've confirmed with Richard that there is money available to complete that funding. That's a long answer to say, yes, it's city funded.
Other questions from you? Councilman Oliver.
You've got the lowest responsible bidder?
Correct.
What does that mean, responsible?
One of the things within the state RCWs is that as a public agencies, we're obligated to select the low bidder, but they have to be a responsible bidder. And then there's some criteria that you can validate that financial component. Are they on a debarment list, as an example? So if a contractor is debarred, that may be a criteria to reject their proposal, even though they may be the apparent low bidder. Sometimes if there's enough errors or omissions in the bid information that we receive, that could be a criteria to reject the bid. And then there's some other things that may deem them non-responsive. So.
Can you remind me what section of trail this is again? You said it, and I was trying to map it out in my head.
Yeah.
Fast enough.
Where we're working on Stewart Road right now, between Valentine and 167, it's the northern segment that we're just completing this year.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Putnam.
The cost of this length of trail is pretty low. I'm assuming some of the site prep has already been covered as a side effect of doing the road project?
There was a little bit of the prep work, but there's still more to do. There's fencing to move and some earthwork that'll have to be constructed, retaining walls to get the grades right. But yes, you're correct, there was a little bit that was already taken care of.
Surprised how low the cost was.
And I was too.
Yeah.
Other questions from council? Without objection, we'll move it to the next week.